Today's gonna be a good day. We get to do my favorite thing, some fabricating. Let's get started. So a couple of days have gone by since we pulled the body off the frame. I'm happy to let you guys know I don't think I broke my thumb. This thing's still not 100%, but I can move it again. And that day it got really bad. It was hurting enough to make me sick, but nonetheless, I think my hand's good. I'm still gonna play it safe with it. I'm not gonna try to smack it with any hammers or anything. And we've got a few things to do on this chassis today. Basically, we're gonna finish up loose ends. Welding areas we couldn't get to, welding things I just wanted to wait to weld, gusseting some things. So let's do a walk around of this thing and I'll recap everything we've done and what we gotta finish up on it basically. So obviously the big thing up here, we added our front frame from the 2003 Silverado. That's the area we boxed it in at. And the only thing that's not welded on the boxed in portion is this right here, and it just hugged the firewall so close I knew it'd be difficult to weld. So I'll probably clean that up and weld that. This is the sleeve for the transmission shifter we built, and it's just tacked into place, so we'll be welding it up. Up front, we capped our frame, added our core support mounts, built all this. I ended up cutting this side back further than this side and to clear the radiator hose, and the radiator hose still just kind of wants to rub just right there. So since I'm here right now and it's easy, I may cut that corner off to give us a little bit of room and cap that. If we come here towards the back, we've got a cross member to build right there. The factory ones came up too high, the drive shaft was hitting it, so that's what it's going to look like. We're going to build another one of those. Where our 4-link brackets are here, I want to gusset them from there to the frame, really stiffen up all that. And then what do we have back here? The panhard bar brackets, those tabs there and the tabs down there, they need to be welded up, probably adding a gusset on those ones over there since they hang down so far. I was trying to weld through here, and that's where the body is, and wind come through and took my gas and made it look terrible. I need to grind this out to about here and finish welding that. Shock brackets there, they need welded. Our filler neck that goes through our frame there, we need to finish welding it up. I need to drill these 2 holes and then cut those tacks where these bolt on and off. I need to weld up these body mounts. I need to full weld up this hitch all the way around and on the inside of the frame and everything. I have a set of holes to drill right there and there. For the other bumper brackets, got a gap to fill right there. And other than our lower shock brackets, I believe that is it, which those will end up getting gusseted with something as well because they hang down so far. So basically, because there's so much welding, I'm going to try to do this in a way where it gives my welder a break. So what I'm thinking I'll do is weld up the stuff here on the front as far as the boxing plates, that little tube for the shifter. I'll probably hop to the back, weld up the hitch. At that point, I'll let my welder have a break, and I'll either start building some of the shock gussets or tabs or whatever, and that way the welder can have a break. And then when I get a few things fit up that I want, then we'll go back to welding, and I'll just bring you guys around with me and let you watch what's going on. Is it hot where y'all's at? It's starting to get hot already. I'll tell you right now, drink plenty of water. All that sugar and energy drinks ain't good for y'all. I'm telling you right now. Neither is the beer I drink, so I'll shut up now. Making some progress back here. I know y'all can only watch me weld so much before that gets old. So I still got the overhead weld to do in here, and the weld's back in here on the hitch, but it's getting there. Got our body mounts welded up. So what I'm gonna do now is make some little gussets to brace this for side to side. So basically what I have here is some 2-inch wide strap, and I'm gonna cut it down so we can put a little weld there and there and there. Of course, we'll make it look good. So I'm gonna cut some of those, and I'll probably grind that weld out over there where it got my gas welded up. And maybe we'll start looking at our bottom tabs down there on how I want to gusset the lower shock mounts. Unplug it before you start cutting into it. That could be a bad day for you. Camera died, but I got the grinder fixed up there. And then I went ahead and pulled the rear shocks off, and I welded up that side and decided I better show y'all this side and what that little gusset's doing. And I ground out that dirty weld over there a little bit. So I'm gonna weld this stuff up, do some more welding on the hitch real quick. So since I have everything set up right now, I'm cutting gussets. These will be for our lower shock mounts here. I need to cut one for our panhard bar mount on this side to gusset it, but these still need welded on. I'm gonna wait till I pull this rear end out to weld up this stuff, because obviously there's bushings and stuff in there and I don't want to burn them up. And it'll be a lot easier to weld this stuff up when it's on jack stands, and we still have to weld up our disc brake mounts. But the panhard bar mount on this side, we can gusset and weld up right here because it's part of our chassis. So I'm gonna cut a couple mounts for this, or gussets. We'll weld this up. So everything's welded up back here except those gussets. Even for that one, I've decided to wait till I pull the chassis apart, and it'll just be so much easier with that the 4-link bars out of my way. So now we're gonna move forward. Well, up here, I got one weld to do on this cross member, and then we gotta finish taking out this old cross member, which is some rivets. I'm gonna cut the head off and then drill them, knock them out, whatever it takes. And then we'll build another one of these cross members. I got that old cross member out of here, and the day I built that one, my oldest daughter was out here helping me. So with her help, I made enough stuff to go ahead and build the second one. And all I did was use cardboard, figure out a template that would fit inside of there. Tapers from the width of the frame out down to 2-inch. And she marked them out for me. As she was marking them, I started cutting them out. And then as I finished cutting and was still cutting, she wire reeled all the edges and everything for me. I went ahead and cut a piece of this down that day. This is some 2x2, 1/8 inch thick also. So all I got to do, clean up the rust in here, and then I may have to trim this piece down a little bit, but I'll get it all squared up, weld this up, get the gussets in there, and then we'll have to cut some 2-inch strap to cap the top, like over here. But pretty simple, so let's get going. Cross members all welded up. To cap that, that's just some 1/4 inch thick, 2-inch wide strap. Just cut to length, weld it in. Happy with that. We got 2 strong cross members down through there. Of course, our transmission one goes here. But let me show you the last thing we're going to look at today. I cleaned up the frame out here in front of these 4-link brackets because we are going to gusset that to the frame and box that all in. But I want to strip everything off of this before I do that. I'm not going to weld that up with those bushings in there. So I'm kind of at the point where I can tear this down to bare frame. That way I can weld up everything on the axle, I can weld up everything on the frame, and be done. Got the frame stripped down, and now we're gonna start on gusseting that in. I have some 3-inch wide, 1/4 inch thick strap that I'm gonna cut a piece that'll go there where we can weld that and tie all 3 pieces together, and it'll probably come up into here somewhere. I'll weld it on where I can get to the inside, weld it in, and then I'll cap the top and bottom with a plate. It's the next morning now. I totally forgot about this front frame and wanting to notch that there, so I just did that real quick, simple. But now I need to find a way to flip this frame so I can I'd rather flip it to weld up that stuff. We're gonna have to clean the bottom of the frame anyways, so doing all that would just be a lot easier with this thing upside down. Thankfully, I have the cherry picker here, which I forgot about because that's Randy's cherry picker and I usually don't have one. But I just kind of found center. This end is touching, but it don't take nothing to pick it up. So I'm gonna pick it up a little more and get some jack stands underneath one side and start to set it down. I wish I would have had the camera going. Can't complain about that. That was pretty easy actually. Definitely beats a sore back. So I'm gonna weld up any loose ends I can find. Cut another 2 of these to cap that, and I'll check in with you guys when I go to do that panhard mount. I added a little radius to our gusset. Grind that weld off the back there so this can sit flush up against it. And about right there looks about right. Get tackle on this bad boy. Welded up the rear end. Our tabs here, gussets. Did the gussets on shock mounts there. And we're down to our last thing, which is the disc brake brackets. So I have my little tool rigged up again. Just putting air pressure. That way that caliper's clamping that rotor. Of course the rotor's cinched down. And that should keep us from moving. And I'm just gonna weld and then kind of cool this off. I'm afraid to pull the axle out. I think this will end up warping, but we do have a seal out here at the very outside, so I'm trying to protect it at the same time. That seal had to go on, so let me see what I can do here. Hopefully we don't end up damaging seals. So I just kind of did that in sections there, cooling it off. I never cooled it off all the way. I wanted it warm, but where I could feel out there on that seal plate and holding my hand on there, I don't think heat like that's gonna damage it. But I didn't want it to be, you know, as hot if I would have just welded it all at once. Nothing appeared to even try to move. I didn't hear no warping or anything, so hopefully we're good. And now that I got that kind of cooled down to touch, still pretty warm right there on the bracket, but the seal plate's good. I'm just gonna let it cool down all the way by itself, and when it's finally cooled down, I'll swap it and do the other side. It is a mess in here. So if you remember from the disc brake bracket or disc brake video, I mean, there was a gap in there and I told you I was gonna have to weld it up. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but I bet that damn thing don't fall off. So got everything welded up on this rear end now. Oh, shop's a mess. I'm exhausted. This is a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I always judge things so wrong in my head. But I'm glad to have it done. You can probably tell I've already started cleaning up on the frame some. I need to get the inside of the frame rails cleaned up real good since we're going to box the frame. And that'll be in a future video. I'm glad to have all this stuff welded up and getting the frame cleaned up. I think when this thing's painted, it's going to look bitchin'. It'll look good underneath our travel wall. So be sure to come back for the future videos where we'll probably box this and paint it in one video, I'm guessing. And yeah, so if you're new to the channel, please check out some of the other videos. If you always come back, thank you guys for coming and watching my videos. If you want to help me out, all you gotta do is drop a comment down below, like or share the video. All those things help. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure to do that. If you're on Instagram, I'm on there at Puddin's Fab Shop. Y'all go give me a follow, and I will see you guys next time. But don't forget, sitting on your ass won't finish your project. I'll see you guys in the next video.